Some of the most exciting days on our property aren't the ones when we start something new. They're the days we finally get to see months of hard work, care, and patience all pay off. This week, we're harvesting the garlic we planted last fall, showing you how we rotate our meat birds, and spending time together as a family soaked in another week of summer here on our little farm. Justin will be giving a little update on our first year raising ducks, and if everything looks a little more orange than usual, it's not your screen. Smoke from the Canadian wildfires has drifted into our area this week, giving everything a hazy glow. If you saw our last video, you know we planted all of this garlic last November. It feels like we just put it in the ground, but now it's time to harvest, and it's easily one of my favorite days in the garden. Garlic is one of those crops that really teaches you patience. You plant it in the fall, let it sit the entire winter, and then months later you finally get to pull these big, beautiful bulbs out of the ground. We did leave a scape on one plant in each bed to see if it coincided with the leaves dying back as a sign that the garlic was ready to harvest. Some of the bulbs were really stuck in the dirt, so we had to use a spade to loosen them while being very careful not to damage the garlic itself.
That's the biggest garlic. It's huge.
With the baby getting fussy and our toddler getting hungry, Justin headed up to the house to make lunch while I stayed behind and finished pulling the rest of this bed. After we harvested, we threaded the stalks through the chicken wire on the cover of our chicken brooder, which, don't worry, we cleaned really well, and we are going to let it cure for a few weeks before trimming it up and storing it. This year we planted 2 varieties of garlic. The first was German Giant, which we buy from a local farm each year, and the second was Chestnut Red from Keen Garlic. Last year, the German Giant garlic was honestly a little disappointing, but when it came time to plant, my mom had gifted me a bag of it and I did not want it to go to waste. At the last minute, I also panic bought some Chestnut Red from Keen Garlic to try something different. Since it was already so late in the season, Chestnut Red was the only variety Keen still had left, so it's a good reminder to order your seed garlic early if you want the best choice in variety. Honestly, I could not be happier with how this garlic turned out, and I'm so glad I bought it. It clearly outgrew the German Giant, which ended up being about the same size as our harvest the year before. It definitely made my decision easy that this fall, I'm going to try several different varieties, all from Keen. I'm also planning to set aside about 20 of our biggest and healthiest Chestnut Red bulbs to use as seed garlic this fall. I'm hoping we can grow even more of this variety next year. There is something really satisfying about growing an ingredient we use almost every single day.
I see something.
What do you think?
I see another strawberry.
You see another strawberry?
And the garlic isn't the only harvest I'm super excited about this season. The garden is actually doing surprisingly well this year, despite the weeds trying to take over about everything. As I mentioned in our last video, I've pretty much accepted that I'm not going to win the weed battle this season. There just isn't enough time. And honestly, that's okay. Sometimes you have to decide where your time is best spent. Thankfully, even with the weeds, the vegetables have continued to grow. One thing I've been especially excited about this year are my onions. Last year's onions were a complete flop, so seeing these big, healthy onions growing has been incredibly rewarding. Our zucchini has also been producing really well. We've harvested quite a few yellow ones so far, and the green ones are a little slower growing, but I could see a bunch coming in.
Dad.
I did manage to plant a small bed of zinnias though, which made me really happy. Most of my garden is dedicated to food, so it's nice having a little space that is just beautiful. My toddler did help me weed them a little too enthusiastically, so there are definitely a few empty spots, but she really enjoys picking them and they are just so nice to have fresh cut on the table. Then we have the tomatoes. This year I'm growing Amish paste, Roma, San Marzano, a Polish variety that I loved last year, and a few slicing varieties as well as sun golds for fresh eating. Carrots, on the other hand, have never been easy for me. Every time I come down to thin them out, I end up pulling out half a row, and I think I've accepted that this batch probably isn't going to amount to much, so I will just try again with a fall planting. Overall, though, I'm really happy with how the garden's doing. It's not perfect between the weeds, the insects, and daily life. It's been one of our more challenging seasons. For now, I'm just enjoying whatever the garden gives us, and if there's one thing I'm hoping for over the next few months, it's a whole lot of tomatoes. And with the garlic beds now empty, it's time for a little update on the ducks.
This year, I really wanted to raise ducks, and I'm so glad we made it happen. Hannah and I have always tried to make sure that we're both completely on board before bringing any new animals onto the property. It's a commitment, and we both want to be excited about it. Looking back now, I think we both agree they've been a great addition to the farm this year. We're raising Brahman hybrid Peking ducks for meat. Knowing they have a super quick grow out period, we ordered 15 ducklings from Meyer Hatchery, and they arrived as healthy, hardy day-olds. Thankfully, we didn't lose a single one. That was definitely a relief, since ducklings are a much bigger upfront investment than meat chickens. Once they were fully feathered, we moved them out to the pasture into a small man-made pond near the front of the property. Originally, I planned to line the pond with a large tarp, but once I spread it out, I realized it was way too small for the size of the pond. So we improvised by adding some plastic around the sides to help hold water for a little bit longer. Every couple of days, we pump fresh water from our larger pond to refill it, and honestly, the ducks seem perfectly happy with this setup. They spend a good part of their day swimming, splashing around, and just doing what ducks love to do. Feeding them has probably been one of the biggest learning experiences so far. Duck feed is noticeably more expensive than chicken feed, so we spent quite a bit of time looking into different options. One thing that kept coming up is how important niacin is for ducklings, especially for proper leg development and supporting their rapid growth. We now mix a high protein duck feed with a layer feed to balance out the protein level, and then we add brewer's yeast to provide the niacin they need. So far, all 15 ducks are doing great. They're healthy, fully feathered, and honestly have grown much faster than I expected. And while they definitely enjoy making a mess with their water, with this setup, they aren't too much messier than our meat birds. With the ducks done for the day, it's finally time to cool off a little.
Stepping on the bilberries. Look, Daddy. We're going to get them.
Lately, we've been making more of our favorite summer foods at home, and dessert is no exception. We don't make desserts all that often, but this time of year, there's just something about a cold homemade treat that hits a little differently. Sometimes it's yogurt pops made with our homemade yogurt and fresh fruit from the season, but lately we've been on a bit of a fudgesicle kick. These fudgesicles have quickly become one of our favorite summer staples because they are just so simple. It's just milk, cocoa powder, maple syrup for sweetness, a pinch of salt, a little cornstarch slurry, and some chocolate chips. I love that this is a simple way to use ingredients we already have on hand while making something our daughter gets really excited about. We love making homemade ice cream too, but sometimes you just want something you could prep in a few minutes without pulling out all the equipment or waiting for a longer process. The best part about these pops is that they don't feel like a compromise. They are incredibly rich and creamy, even more so than the classic fudgesicle we all remember growing up. One upgrade that has been completely worth it is switching to a stainless steel popsicle mold. I absolutely love it. It freezes the popsicles nearly twice as fast as our old silicone mold. They are so much easier to unmold, and it's one of those little kitchen purchases that just gets used all summer long. After everything is mixed together, we pour them into the molds and let the freezer do the rest. They do take a few hours to fully set, although with the stainless steel mold, they seem to freeze much faster than our old one. It's not something we have every day, but it's one of those little things that makes this season feel so memorable.
No, don't eat that.
Our last big task of the day is moving the meat birds onto fresh grass. The chicken tractor Justin built is pretty substantial, so moving it is definitely a two-person job.
One of the things we really like about raising our meat birds and tractors is that they get fresh grass every single day. And with the amount of manure these guys produce, it's definitely necessary. We've also been really fortunate this year not to have any aerial predators around. Because of that, we let the birds out of the tractor during the day with an electric fence so they have more room to forage. Then, every evening comes the fun part, rounding them all back up and herding them into the tractor for the night. If we can't get our toddler down before we have to do this at night, we have her come and help, and I have to say, she's pretty good at it. Every morning or evening, we use the tractor to pull the chickens onto fresh pasture. That gives us fresh grass to forage through, bugs to scratch for, and spreads all the manure naturally across the field. In another month or so, after the birds are in the freezer, this grass behind us will be some of the nicest on the property. Even though I'm driving the actual tractor, Hannah walks inside the chicken tractor, giving me hand signals the whole time to make sure the birds keep moving to avoid an early casualty. It takes a little coordination, and she's definitely the more nervous one between the two of us, having to make sure nobody gets left behind. Keeping them watered takes a little more planning. Since the pasture is further from the house, we don't have any water lines that run out there. Most of the time, we haul water from the house in 5-gallon buckets, although this year, we've also experimented with pumping water from our pond into an IBC tote. It's worked pretty well. The feed bill is definitely starting to add up, so we're looking forward to processing day in just a couple of weeks. Raising our own meat definitely takes a lot more work than buying at the grocery store, but for us, knowing exactly how these birds were raised makes all the effort worthwhile. As we mentioned in our last video, we decided to have them processed this year instead of doing it ourselves. With everything going on this season, I'm really glad we made that choice. We'll also be putting together a full breakdown after we get them back, from chicks and feed all the way through processing. So if you've ever wondered what raising your own meat actually cost, keep an eye out for that video. You'll probably notice a few Rhode Island Reds and White Rocks mixed in the batch. Hannah wanted to experiment with breeding our own meat birds next spring, so we're raising a few potential breeders alongside these guys. With all the animal chores wrapped up, we're calling it a day. Days like these remind us that a slower life isn't always an easier one, but it's one we're grateful to be building. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today. If you enjoyed today's video, we'd love to have you subscribe and follow along as we continue learning and growing. Until next time, we'll see you from the front porch.